Hi everyone, I'm Pranoti, host of Under the Microscope. This series is brought to you by the Real Scientists Nano team. Our goal is to provide a platform where scientists can communicate their work and interact with the public. With that in mind, every week we introduce you to a scientist working in the field of materials or nanoscience who tweets from the Real Scientists Nano Twitter account, which is realsci_nano. Hi everyone, I'm Pranoti, host of Under the Microscope podcast or vodcast or whatever we call it. And today we have with us Susi Seibt, who is a beamline scientist at the Australian synchrotron and ANSTO, based in Melbourne, Australia. Hi Susi, how are you?
Hi, good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And for some reason, my phone, Siri, thought that I was talking to her. Um, so sorry about that. All right, let's get started. So, could you tell us about your science in super simple words, please?
Yeah, so my science is literally all about nanotechnology because nanotechnology is everywhere. So from smartphones to COVID, rat tests, literally everything you touch in your life has some sort of nanotechnology in it. And it's really, really essential to understand the chemistry and the physics of nanomaterials that are in these products. And they are the reason why they work so well in whatever field they are. Um, However, if you produce these nanomaterials, the reactions are often super, super fast. So it's a bit like this imagery of, you have the chemist with the two beakers and he puts them together and then there's like a bang and the smoke cloud. There's usually not a bang in the smoke cloud, but, for the imagery there is. And then something happens and we don't really know what. So usually when we're talking about kinetics, so that's what it is, the kinetics of a reaction, you have to take aliquots out of the sample, so little portions of it, and look at them under the microscope or in a whatever spectrometer. But that can be really tedious, and if you don't have much of the sample, it's even worse. So what I use is I basically use a miniature version of a full-on chemistry lab, so all the flasks and all the tubes you can imagine, on one little chip called microfluidics, and I combine that with synchrotron sucks to look at the reactions at a super fast time scale. Fun fact about the synchrotron, we call it also the science donut because we're going around it. It's not as tasty as that, but it's, we have a lot of fun there, particularly down here in Australia. And so we can look at these reactions at like a nanoscale, even like nanosecond scale.
Okay. So there is microfluidics, there is a science donut, aka synchrotron. That sounds so cool. Oh my
It
God, that's
is.
so cool. Oh my God. So do you like also fabricate these microfluidic channels, or do you or is your work more focused on what happens inside these microfluidic channels?
Unfortunately, or fortunately, how you want to say it, I did everything basically. So it's the system about it, which is the beauty and the pain of microfluidics, is that it is basically a circular feedback system, and it's quite instantaneous because most of the devices that you use are made from PDMS, so silicone, that most people know from things like breast implants or something, and they can be fabricated within a day. So basically what you do is you have a thought about what you actually want to achieve, what kind of design you want, then you draw it in like some CAD drawing program of your choice. And then often you can make so-called wafers yourself. So it's basically the mold with your structure. You develop them in a clean room under under yellow light, actually. It's a whole process in that takes maybe like a day, and then you can reuse this mold and pour your PDMS on, and cure it and peel it off and fabricate your chips, and then test them and can go basically from that step back to your design step and see if you need to make improvements, if you need to make adjustments, abandon the whole design. Happens quite a lot to me, and then go back and forth. For using it at the synchrotron nowadays, so I did that during my PhD a whole of a lot. And then nowadays, because polymers in general, PDMS particularly, is really bad in combination with X-rays.
I was about to ask that.
Yeah, like plastic in general. So I often, for initial testing, use so-called hybrid devices. So I insert a cut-off glass capillary, which is open on both ends. And so basically I get the best of both worlds, right? I get the easy design in PDMS, and then I cut it off just after the liquids mix somewhere, and then insert a glass capillary and measure through that, which gives me really low background. And then I also have an ongoing collaboration with the ANFF in South Australia, which is like a national lab here. And we do, they produce glass microfluidic devices for me. And then a few of my collaborators do microfluidics, and they produce their own devices of various materials. So we have like some really crazy ones. We have some really easy ones, although microfluidic is really never easy, but you know, all the fun things.
That is so fascinating. Oh my God, I have so many questions for you, but I'm going to save those for the long podcast. Susi, your research definitely is super interesting and multiple different projects, and I cannot get over the science donut analogy. It's so cool. Sorry, go on.
Me neither. This is why we always have donuts at work nowadays, because it makes us so hungry to talk about our research all day.
Yeah, that's the only way to do science, I think. So what can the followers expect in the week that you will be taking over the Real Scientist Nano Twitter account?
Well, so I have made a little bit of an outline, starting with what is the Australian synchrotron, aka the Science Donut. Mm-hmm. You know, what is it? What is the place like? Where do I work? You know, it's quite nice actually, because it is a big circular building. Apparently, there are not many in this world. They're actually circular buildings, so we can have a look at that. What other beamlines do we have? So I work on one of them, and we have 10 operating one, and we're going to be building 6 new ones. So there's going to be a bit of a sneak peek into the future. Obviously, we talk everything about my beamline, so everything sucks, which is kind of a little bit following on from what Brian Paul talked about, because he talks on a similar instrument in Germany. But we look at our instrument, we look at, you know, how it works, what can we get out of it, and most importantly, how can people use it? Like, how can you come down here and use this and meet me in person? I'm always up for a coffee when you're here. And then we dive right into, you know, microfluidics, or as I call it, we're going to look at the Mario Brothers of science, because really all it is plumbing, but in miniature style. So it's literally like Mario Brothers, the game, you know, it's like plumbing, but in miniature style.
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
I know, right? It's my best analogy ever.
Oh my God.
Although I always am told that I look more like Princess Peach because I have the long blonde hair. I'm not in distress though, so that's okay. I know, right? Anyway, so we will look at, you know, what is microfluidics, how does it work, why is it important? There are so many topics, but you know, we will pick a few of them. And what do scientists use it for? So, you know, there are some applications already that are very important and very interesting. And then I guess we're going to like follow on from that and combine everything and look at my specific research. What did I do? Looking at nanoparticles, hence the nano as I call it, under the magnifying glass. So we look at, you know, reaction kinetics of that. Mm-hmm. Also, maybe some applications of that and some other research I'm lucky to be part of, because as a beamline scientist, you're part of several research teams and several research projects. So I have a lot of really cool science going on with that. Mm-hmm. And also, you know, the job of a beamline scientist. I mean, the person is as much worse as the instrument. So, you know, it's a cool job. And I think people don't really understand what we're doing all day. So you get a sneak peek into that. Mm-hmm. And then I've got some real cool things coming for you, because on the Saturday when I'm curating, I'm going to run a half marathon through the bushlands along the coast of Melbourne. So I'm going to take you out with me in the bush and show you a little bit of the beauty of Melbourne's outskirts down the coast, the surf coast, and talk about the science, obviously, of it, you know, and the reason why I'm here, which is why I did a joint PhD. So you will get a little bit about that. And then the last day, which is going to be my recovery day from probably a lot of leg pain, will be about a topic that is really dear to me, which is science outreach. So I have my own YouTube channel. I make science videos, and I will let you, you know, dive into that a little bit, and then I will sign off and hand over to the next awesome scientist.
That sounds like a jam-packed week, and cannot wait to have you on the Twitter account and There is just so much. There is just so much to look forward to. Oh my God, I'm so looking forward to having you on the account. Oh my God, that is so cool. Thank you very much, Susie, for speaking with me, and really, really looking forward to having you on Real Scientist Nano.
Me too. I can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you for listening. This is Pranoti, host of Under the Microscope. To know more about us, visit our website, thesciencetalk.com, and follow us on Twitter at realsci_nano.